Guys, welcome back to this week's video. This week's video we're going to cover everything Cape York, car and van. You guys have asked us the questions, we're going to try and answer them. If you guys haven't asked the question and you were thinking about asking the question, we might answer some of those in this video. So we're going to cover everything, tire pressures, what we run the tire pressures at, how did the van handle, what broke in the van, how did the ute handle it, what broke in the ute. So with enough of that, let's jump straight into it. Let's answer those questions for you. Righto guys, we're going to start up the front of the car. Sue, don't be shy, jump in. Sorry about the wind guys, it is a bit breezy where we are at the moment. I'm trying my best to have no wind noise. We do have a dead cat on the camera. So starting up the front of the car, it is always good to have a good UHF radio. Why is that? So when you're driving up the Cape, you've got a lot of oncoming traffic. If you're traveling in a convoy, you want to keep in sort of radio contact with them. They'll tell you if there's a car coming, so you can know if there's a car passing you and vice versa. Sometimes even the guys that passing you want to be on the UHF to tell you if there's something ahead of you, because it's very dusty, visibility is very low. So a good UHF up the front. We just run the yeah. You want to say something, dear?
I do. It's also really great if there's an obstacle up ahead. Yeah. Just to warn you if
there's a lot of dips. Whoops and dips and rocky sections and stuff. So this is what we attacked with each other. We ran a GME aerial at the front with a GME UHF in the console, guys. That's pretty much simple. And I will admit, the bolt never came loose. This is it. When I installed it, I do have a little bit of Loctite on that bolt going through. That never came loose, and she's still as solid as anything. So that's it. Job done. Bull bar, after us taking it off and on, never rattled loose. She's solid, she's on, and she's not coming off. Likewise with the headlamps. Fortunately, we had no dramas there. Nothing came loose, nothing broke on that, which is great. And
worked a dream when we were towing Keelan and Sarah home.
Yeah, we were towing Keelan and Sarah home. These bodies did us good. So yeah, decent set of spotlights up the front. If you're wanting to do a little bit of night driving as well, yeah, that held up perfectly. We ran and we put the Caravan 15,000 Scout Pro winch up on here when we were in Melbourne for Cape. We never actually used that up the Cape. We used it when we got bogged last video, but
winches were used.
Winches were used, but not to get us out. It was used to lower us in because of the weight on the cruiser. It's a little bit top heavy. I mean, we did the OTT without the tinny, if you're wondering that.
It's not only the cruiser that's top heavy.
Yeah, no, I'm bottom heavy, huh?
Well.
Alright guys, so we're going to start up the front. Now like I said, this side, that side, same thing. If there's any damage on that side of the car, I'll show you. So we'll start up the front. So these tyres, now tyres is a big thing, you know, punctures. Everyone talks about having good tyres. These are not, I bought this as a set. They're Federal tyres. I have heard of them before. We ran them all the way up. We've been running them for 40,000 Ks and we haven't had a puncture yet. Touch wood. Where's wood?
Your head.
Head. Touch hand. We never had a flat on the car or the Caravan, but we'll get onto the Caravan again. Tire pressures, guys. The roads up this year were pretty bad. I've never done it before, so we were just told by the locals, by people that have done it before, that the roads this year up the Cape were pretty bad. And I tell you what, they were, in my opinion, pretty bad. So we ran these tires front 20 psi, the rear we ran at 28 psi, and why is that? It's because it's got a little bit more weight on the back. I ran I ran 10 psi in the airbags, which I actually could have just dropped that out, to be fair, to be on the safer side. Every time we hit a water dip or a whoop, you know, guys would radio me because they know my I've got a heavy on the back of the rear of the axle. So let's swing around and just show them. To stand back a little bit, you can see in the cruiser I don't have the extension, so I've got a fair bit of flex on the rear. So I could actually drop those airbags all the way out, but fortunately for us, we've come unscathed.
So your vehicle's got a heavy rear?
It's got a heavy rear, like, you know. Another thing I wanted to say, I've forgotten now. You've interrupted me, dear.
The airbags.
The airbags.
10 PSI, flex.
We've been getting a lot of comments in some of our photos on Facebook, Instagram, about, oh, your chassis bent, your chassis bent. Well, there you go. It does not have the Caravan on the back, and she's good. Now, I do have a lot of flex in it, to be fair, but I wouldn't want to push it any more than what I do on this car. So our ball weight's around about 320 kilo ball weight, which is pretty heavy, but it's still within the limits of 350 and my GVM. Now let's talk the rack. This is not a Rhino rack, this is a cheap rack we bought off a 4x4 joint in Melbourne. Nothing came loose on that, but I don't have anything tied to it. You can still see evidence of some red dust.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to have evidence of red dust for years.
I mean, the right thing to do would be to have the car detailed, but I just don't have the money for it because, you know, you guys would have known by now that, yeah, they broke in and got some gear out of our car, so we're trying to still replace that. Tinny. Now here's another thing. We'll move through. So mirrors never fell off. These are the Ocam 4x4 mirrors. They are solid. They never rattle loose. They've still got plenty of tension in that. And on the OTT, we actually had to drive with them in because of how tight the track was.
I think we had 2 occasions where they actually bashed in.
Well, yeah, the tree would have actually bashed her. She's got a few battle scars.
Couple of battle scars on the mirrors.
Sorry guys, the car is a bit dirty. We've washed it, and well, it's gotten dirty again. That's part of living on the road.
The boat.
Side steps.
Oh yeah,
they
side
managed
steps
to survive as well. I don't know. I just think Danny and the team we did it with, like, the way they chose our lines going in the OTT must have just been amazing because, yeah, I've still got all the sides. I don't even have a ding in the side step, so, and the other side's exactly the same.
And what type of a lift do you have on this? How high is it?
I think it's only a 2-inch lift, guys. I'm running, what size tyres are these? 285 70/17s, and that's the sort of height that you get. Yeah. Guys, the boat loader. Now, this is a homemade boat loader. I bought the steel. Unfortunately, it's not aluminium. Had a bloke weld it up for me. Thank you so much. If you're watching this in Gawler, the boat ran on top of this without breaking anything. So yeah, nothing broke, nothing snapped, awning stayed on. Now, I don't run the straps over the boat. If Sue can come in here and look, I've got a 1-ton strap on each corner over the chair of the tinny. Every time we stopped, I just made sure they were tensioned up. So you'll see one, I've got another one up the front, one on the opposite side and one on the other side. Guys, that boat did not move. We took it off for the OTT and then we put it back on when we moved, and it held those corrugations up pretty well. You can see there's been a bit of aluminium sort of, I don't know what, rubbing, if you want to call it, but hey, it's tinny's there to be used, and we used it. It caught some great fish, if you don't know, in our past video or videos. That tinny we were going to leave behind, and I'm so glad we took it with us.
That tuna, that mackerel.
Tunas, mackies, man, it was absolutely amazing.
And
I really enjoyed it.
Emma and Danny on the cook.
On the cook, Emma cooked up some great food. I think even we had curry. I think Simon was involved with that one. Everyone was involved. It was just great. Guys, thank you so much for that. So what did we cover? Tire pressures, we've covered everything. We didn't bend a rim. I don't even know. I don't even think I scuffed the rim. Yeah, it's just great.
Now what I am seeing,
also,
what I am seeing, couple of...
Yeah, look, we got some pinstripe scratches on the canopy in the car. I'm not too happy about that because I don't have that clear coat or anything on here. I'm hoping it'll buff out, but at the end of the day, it's not there to be, it's there to be used, but we also want to try and look after our gear, and we tried to our best anyway.
No.
I'll just quickly go underneath the chassis before we go into the canopy, and that's where things start getting interesting. Guys, quick one. We installed these water tanks from Anaconda. I've got 2 65-litre water tanks underneath there. I don't travel with them full. That's for times like if you've parked up at a free camp and you want to run and get water instead of having the bladder. Our bladder burst in our car when we were on KR, so I come up with another idea. I had the space underneath here. Myself and Jason, Trips Travels, Jason from Trips Travels, helped me put this in Adelaide. and we did a bit of a caravan park sort of install, and that held up perfectly. It has not even moved. It's amazing what Sikaflix can actually do. Underneath the chassis, no dramas there. Nothing fell off, nothing rattled loose that I know of. Suspension, everything held up well. No broken springs, no broken shocks. Airbags are still intact. A little bit of dirt still that will eventually, hopefully, just come off over time when you wash your car. But okay, let's pop this open. Right guys, now inside the canopy. This is a homemade install canopy, and we did it ourselves at when we were at Gawler. It's just a bit of timber. Dometic upright fridge, no dramas whatsoever. She's still going, and she's still keeping the beers cold.
She's looking good.
Yeah, she's stocked up, mate, I tell you.
Oh yeah.
That's this rattled loose a little bit. Still got to fix that. That just needs a couple of brackets and screws. The air fryer I installed. Now a lot of people are asking about this air fryer. Sorry about the mess. Let's just move some stuff here quickly. This is my garage. You would see by this my garage was very dirty back home. But anyway, we're actually the oven buddy out, and we put an air fryer in. A lot of people ask us about that, but I actually bolted this down onto this drawer, and that didn't go anywhere. Nothing broke there. We turned it on the other night to do some schnitzels, and I blew the light inside here. I don't know why, but the light doesn't work anymore. So that could have been from the corrugations, but the glass never broke, anything like that. That's still in. That still works. Now this is where most probably the part of the theft came in. These little lugs on this canopy, I don't know the brand of this canopy, so I can't call anyone out. It's just not an Orwell. It's not a, doesn't look an expensive one. These little lugs here are held on by these nuts. These kept coming off, and then when these come off, you can't lock the canopy. So this little lug here goes into here, and these kept falling off, and some of them actually fell in here, but fell inside this opening here. And I actually had to wait for the corrugation so I could actually get them out. And that, I think, led to part of my stupidity or lack of getting something done up the Cape, bit of laziness. And that's maybe why they got into the canopy, because, like, yeah, they were a bit dicky, so they might have just been able to get it open. But that's all that's sort of come loose. The shocks held up bloody well. My light, well, that actually broke a while ago. I've got a little strap around there. I'm waiting to get back to Brisbane.
Those Velcro straps are just phenomenal for travel.
You buy this, let me just tell you, you buy a roll of this from Bunnings, and you can just cut them to suit. So that light there snapped, but it's not from the Cape, to be fair. That just snapped, I think, a few months back. I'm waiting to get back to Brisbane so I can get another one of those. We did get some dust in the canopy because it's got rubber seals on it. It was doing a great job, but when these lugs fell off while we were driving, well, then the canopy door over the corrugations just do that, and it let dust in. To be fair, you can still see evidence of some orange dust. I've stripped this whole bloody thing out to try and see if we can get the dust out. But fortunately, I think it's a piano hinge, cheap canopy, held up, no dramas. All right, guys, you can see some evidence from the OTT going down the chicken track at Gunshot, I think it was. We kind of scraped the edge there, that's fine. And then this is where, coming out of, I'm not sure that, I think it was Mistake Creek, I think it was. We hooked the tree, because the boat wasn't on, and the branch kind of went all the way down the side of the canopy. But guys, that to me is just a bit of paintwork. I would have rather done that than snap a diff or something. Also, quickly on this side, excuse the mess, we're, when we got back off the PDR, down in, was it Laura or Lakeland? Lakeland, was it?
Lakeland.
I tried to pump my tyres up with a single A or B compressor pump, and it absolutely blew itself up. We're trying to do 1 for 8 tyres with a single compressor pump. It just blew up. So I'm currently in the middle of installing the TJM Pro Series dual pump with the Pro Series air tank, a 5-litre air tank. I've just got to basically connect it to the battery, put a connection here for the hose, and we should be good to go. Also, Sue, if you come around this side, so because this was a homemade canopy, this backboard's actually in 2 pieces. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to get it in, and when they installed the battery system, they could take this panel out and put all this gear on and then wire it up and put it back on. That actually came off when we got to Fruit Bat Falls, which was just that free camp that we went. We didn't actually camp at Fruit Bat Falls. I opened up the canopy and this board was lying like this.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, fair enough. But we had, I got my little toolbox out and I had a couple of self-tappers, and there's 50mm aluminium tube running in this canopy because it can take the canopy, the tinny, and we put a couple more in and it hasn't come off. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's that. You can see while we're on this side, and I don't know if that wind, if you can hear, but you can see the side steps 100%. Mirror's fine. Tinny load is fine. This side of the canopy, same thing, guys. Both sides, the lugs came off, so that also let dust in. So everything got a bit dusty in here, and we kind of had to vacuum it all out. Honestly, a little bit of dust in the engine bay, a few chips here and there from the stones, guys, but it held up beautifully. I'm pretty happy the way the cruiser held up. God, honestly, like the whole OTT, I'm super proud that, you know, it went there and back with no dramas. Come on, let's jump over. I'll do the outside of the Caravan, and Sue will actually jump inside and we'll show you inside the Caravan. Come on. All right, guys, so we jump up, we'll start in the front of the Caravan. Not going to talk too much about this stuff here. Everything just held up well. DO35 hitch worked a treat. We start with a toolbox. Now, we don't have a stone stomper, and we never had rock tamers. Number one, it was a bit of a wait for a stone stomper when I decided to actually get one. And I couldn't afford the rock tamers at the end of the day, because then we put the bash plate on the car, did the diff breathers, and put the recovery point on. And everybody said, oh, you're gonna be in trouble. Now, because we got this big toolbox up the front, this actually took the beating from the stones. It's a bit dirty, but we got a stone chips on here. Now, I know that it's still damaged, but what I thought about doing is one day is actually Raptor coating this toolbox.
I'm gonna look for a chip.
Oh, it's a bit dirty now, but all these little stone chips here are everywhere.
Yep. Very fine little silver
When we
chips,
washed the Caravan, there was no visibility of any stones jumping off the side of the road, hitting the side of the Caravan. When I washed the Caravan, there's no signs of stone chips or dents up the top of the Caravan. So this toolbox, because it's so high, and believe me, that was not why I designed it like that, from the stones were just hitting here and not hitting the top of the Caravan. So it kind of worked for us. I'm kind of glad we came out unscathed, no damage to the actual skin of the Caravan. No stones jumped on the side of the road. You hear stories about stones being thrown to the left or to the right and they actually physically bounce back into the Caravan. Nothing like that. All bloody marvelous. So you come around this way quick. Guys, also, having the motor in there over the corrugations, motor never moved. It absolutely stayed upright, never tilted. I do have a strap on it, and I am so happy it was inside the toolbox than outside getting smashed by those rocks. So, yep, the idea was there and the idea has worked, and that is why, you know, sometimes it might not be pretty, but it serves a great purpose. Mentioned already, no damage to the skin. Couple of what do you call them?
Straps.
Pin stripes along the stickers and stuff, and the doors and windows. Well, you're going to get that when you go into these narrow places where we did go. Another thing I'd like to mention, guys, the hatches. We did get a little bit of dust in them, and the reason is I never really adjusted these latches. You can actually adjust these latches to actually tighten up, but I never did, so we did get a little bit of dust in there. My own fault. And the rest of the hatches we got zero dusting, just the two front ones, because they just weren't adjusted properly. A hot tip, when you're doing on corrugation roads, one of the guys we were traveling with, Mark, mentioned, why don't, like, he's done the gib, you know, so I'm picking up all these ideas from other, or not ideas, like this suggestions, and possibly other people have had a problem and then they've, you know, remedied it, and they also just want to help you and try and prevent you from doing the same thing. Hot tip, lock your hatches up, because from the vibrations these little latches can pop open. I mean, guys, we were talking about some real serious corrugations up the Cape, and then once they're up, they sort of can vibrate. This falls down, before you know, that's broken off, dust is going in.
So can we
so
just show them the actual dust that's in there? That's what I wanted to do.
oh, it's a bit messy, but you can see there.
There we go.
Bloody hell, more red dust, but it's only just in the front, so it was a little bit that come in there. I think that was my own fault, but guys, I actually locked up all the hatches, the toilet hatch, everything. So when we're driving, I knew, like, in the back of your mind that you're not stressing about stuff. I think whatever you can possibly do on corrugations to try and take the pressure and the stress off of you, the better. I mean, just stop. It takes an extra 5 minutes, extra 5 minutes. Guys, the awning. We made sure every time we stopped, we tightened up these wing nuts at the back here. And also, it's got a center, like, barrel support, which is quite important. Most caravans come with it, but if you don't have it, I suggest you put one on, because with the corrugations, that barrel will actually bounce up and down. So if you don't have it, that's possibly going to snap. Now, no one wants to break anything, but if you do happen to break something and it could have been prevented, getting stock for caravans at the moment is a big thing. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever tried to even buy anything for a caravan. It's pretty hard. Awnings are number one. There's like an 18-month wait list for an awning. So take care of the stuff. If you want to, you can actually get that Velcro strap we spoke about earlier, and you can actually just put a couple of supports on. We didn't do it, and we come out unscathed, but every time we stopped, we checked everything, make sure bolts tight, everything like that. Yes, dear.
I was just going to say, one of the other travellers with us, Brad and Hayley, actually had a really cool sleeve that went around it with Velcro.
There's a couple of companies out there that actually do a sleeve. I think even Navigator actually do an awning, I don't know what it's called, awning buddy I think it's called, where they actually cover the whole thing so it stops that your awning. And believe me, I've seen stories where people are driving and they haven't locked them up and they're halfway out and they've ripped off their caravan. But anyway, guys, windows never came undone. We'll jump inside and we'll talk about that now. Come over here, let's talk about the tyre pressures on the caravan quick, love. Right guys, tyre pressures on the caravan. I don't know if you guys have watched our build video. We put BF Goodrich tyres on here, and I would like to put BF Goodrich tyres on the car. Just a great, all well-known tyre. These tyres did absolutely wonderful, no punctures, and we ran these tyres at 20 psi as well. Now, the roads were that bad, so we went down to 20 psi. Now, there's sections of the PDR that when you drive into the tip is actually on bitumen, and there's actually quite some long sections of bitumen. I ran these tyres at 20, 28, 20 on the front of the ute, and when we were driving on the bitumen, I was just doing 80 k's an hour, and I had no dramas, you know. I wasn't going to stop, put air in. If the roads weren't that bad, I would never have let my tyres down that far, but they were that bad, so when we got to the bitumen, we just took it a bit slower. And look, we weren't in a race to go to the tip and back. It was all about having a good time and just enjoying the moment going up. So 20 psi around here, same on the other side, no flat tyres. Let's talk quickly about the suspension. This is the Elco suspension under here. It's got 8 shocks on it, held up beautifully. Like, really impressed with it. Like, no airbags on this one, just simple setup. Sometimes less is more. Every time we stopped, I'd get my torque wrench out, I'd torque up all the bolt nuts, nothing came undone, nothing bent, nothing twisted, all the shocks are engaged, there's no leaking shocks. We'll jump underneath and have a look. I'm very happy with that. So when we were stopping and every sort of 50 k's we'd stop it somewhere safe, I'd say to Sue, oh, go check inside the caravan, like what's going to be done. Nothing went wrong. We'll jump inside and show you. Sue sometimes even opened up the fridge and our stuff was still standing straight up, even though we're going over the corrugations. So really impressed with that suspension. If you guys want to know a little bit more about the Elco suspension, hit the subscribe button below. We're going to be doing a full review video of the Elco suspension in this caravan coming up shortly, so look out for that one. The other side, nothing else came off. I want to talk about this this rear bar on this caravan. So left, come around. Quickly, just want to touch on the rear bumper. We got a four bar rear bar. Is that?
I don't know. 4-bar rear bar.
It's got 4 supporting legs going onto the suspension. With a wood box, with 1 spare wheel, and we got the thing. Now watch this. I want to show you something. We got the Jerry's on the back here. They full as well. Watch this. This is quite scary. Look at that. I'm wobbling that. Now you must know when we're going over the corrugations, 2,000 kilometers of corrugations, I think it was roughly. Imagine this thing doing that, and it never broke.
Well, we hear it when the washing machine's on.
Yeah, when the washing machine's on, it rattles like anything. But I'm bloody surprised how that did not snap off with those corrugations. We're talking 2,000 kilometers of corrugation non-stop, a few little bitumen parts, but that is incredible. I gotta say, when I was washing the caravan, and I was actually, like, I found out that this thing, like, really has got a bit of a shake on it. And man, whoever made it bloody strong, I tell you that. Right guys, It's a bit windy. I'm going to torque up. There's the suspension, all looking great. We do, because of the chassis is painted, there's definitely stone chips underneath the Caravan. That's all right. We'll get a bit of touch-up paint and we'll repaint it up. Tanks, let me just zoom out here. Tanks held up perfectly. These guards worked wonderful. Even this corrugated stuff. Now a lot of people were saying, oh, put pool noodles around it. Well, I've had that corrugated stuff on and we didn't get a burst pipe. Now I don't know if that was just lucky or if that stuff actually worked, or the roads, we just didn't pick up big stones. They've got the water pump underneath the Caravan in that shroud there, protecting it. Now a lot of people would think, well, why is the water pump outside? I can understand why they put the water pump outside and not inside, that if it burst or had it be malfunction, well, you're not going to flood the Caravan, you know. But not saying stones or anything, but the pump actually failed up the Cape. Now I think it was due to corrugation, so a little bit of wiring inside came loose. So we were out without a water pump. It stopped working at Munti Beach on the way to Loyalty Beach, and then we were on mains water anyway. So when I got back to Cairns, I popped a new one in and she's all good. Guys, that's the outside of the van held up. The roof's got still a bit of red dust on it. The solar panels didn't move. Everything is solid as from the outside of the Caravan. So the build on the outside of the Caravan was spot on, and we're going to jump inside. There's Sue. We're going to jump inside. Sue's going to run you through. Alright guys, so in terms of the inside of the van, absolutely superb job. The big question we did get up the Cape was obviously dust related. The old red dust.
The old red dirt, which is atrocious. So the only place we did get some dust was just through the vents on the bottom of the door. We had a triangle literally about a V shape, about that wide, that just blew in through the entrance and splayed out on the corner of the step, which was easy enough just to give it a wipe down when we got to the destination.
Now, yeah, talking about that, you can put a little bit of tape over the vent, but just remember that vent is there for regulations because there's gas inside. I do believe that's why the vent is in a door.
So you want to pull it off?
You want to pull it off when you're not traveling, and when you're traveling you want to put it back on. I took a chance and said, nah, we're going to test it. And unfortunately, like Sue says, that little triangle of dust kept coming in the same spot. We just took a rag and we just wiped it, and it was done. I just used
a wet wipe.
A wet wipe,
easy,
literally,
easy.
that was it.
Wet wipe, wiped it out. The only other thing we got was, and Derek will talk to you about the dust reduction system, but I noticed we had a very, very fine film of dust, literally just down the top here, again in a triangle, that corner and that corner.
I'll explain to you why though too in a minute.
That we had dust, and when you open up the cupboard, there was nothing in the cupboard, but there was some just on the underside of the entrance here to the cupboard.
On both sides or just one side?
Just on this side, funny enough.
Eh?
And just some dust along this. You can actually see there's some still there.
But there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain to you. Do you want me to jump in with the dust reduction? So guys, the Dometic dust reduction system, we get asked a lot of questions about it. The reason I tried to answer you guys on the questions, but I wanted to make this video so I can talk to you a little bit more about it. I don't want to dribble too much about it. There are other videos out there about it, but this is the one we put in the van. There was two reasons: cost and availability. The Caravans, I think, are $2,000, and then you've still got to pay to have it installed, but there's no stock at the moment. Dometic, I think, $600, and this is the one we put in. Now we took a risk with that. So let me pop this open quick. So inside here, it's like a magnet. Let me just get this out here quickly.
Get up there!
Get up there! Now, in all fairness, Matty, the owner of Vacation, when I picked up this, when I picked up the Caravan, he did say to me, get some spare of these. Now, we've done a fair few. We've had the Caravan since what, the end of May, and we haven't done too much of the off-road driving. There's been a couple of dirt roads here and there, but the problem with the Dometic, which is my opinion, is that it's a cardboard surround, so you can't wash it. You can try and blow it out. We try to tap it out a few times, and you can see that is the condition of it. Alright, now if I had it worked the first 2-3 days up the Cape. It worked like a beautiful charm. No dust other than by the door. after a while, it gets clogged up. You tap it out. It gets clogged up. You tap it out. I remember when I was up the Cape, Maddie, you told me to buy some spare of these.
Sure.
And I never did. I think I looked up on the internet. I think you can get them for about $55 each. I would take another 2 spare ones with you. If you don't use them, you leave them under the bed. You know, we're going to go do the Gibb River Road possibly next year or whatever. And we want to do a little bit more of that type of stuff. So I've got some of these on order. And I'm going to just make them light as, so it's not extra weight. And you just pack them. I'm just going to throw them under the bed. And then, so I reckon if we had some spare of these, we wouldn't have had the dust coming in as this thing got clogged up.
Yeah, I was going to say, the days before it got clogged up, superb. They're literally, you could run your hand over the surface of every surface and there wasn't a spot of dust. So that's the dust reduction system. Now, let's show them.
I'm just trying to figure out quickly how to put it back in. Because it got arrows, so when you put it back in, it's got to face forward and this side top. So I will, no, forward, that goes in. Sorry guys, let me just get this out of the way. I've got some of these on order, to be fair. And I think that's, I think that's where the dust came in. Only after that starts getting clogged up. So, hot tip. I think it does work.
It definitely works.
When it's clean, like anything else, like an air filter in a car, anything like that. As soon as that starts getting clogged up, and the problem is when that gets clogged up, is the Dometic is forcing air into the Caravan to push out into the holes in the Caravan so you don't get any dust in. We started getting that dust on top of the bed and in the cupboard. So, but because we've got a flat floor, there's no real wheel arches. We got no dust under the cabinetry, under the bed. Countertops were clean. So what's great about that is when you get to camp, you pull up, you don't spend 2-3 hours cleaning up the dust. So that did kind of work for us. So it was worth putting in.
Now I have to show you an absolute travesty. And here it is. We lost a screw cap. The good news is I found said screw cap and we can basically pop it straight on.
You. On to more serious stuff, love. What do you think? Cabinetry held up?
Cabinetry was superb.
We had no drama with our cabinetry at all. Yep.
The other thing everyone warned us about was the microwave. The microwave did not shift. Absolutely perfect.
And yeah, what I'd like to say too is we actually got this the new NCE. It doesn't have the plate in it.
Oh, I love that.
That rotating plate inside where you have to put a towel, or you can get the Navigator microwave buddy. It's a flat base, this one, so it doesn't have that turny thing. So we don't have to worry about that. Aircon didn't fall out, windows didn't fall out. Now another hot tip is, guys, I don't know about you, but I seem to see a little bit of this on some of the forums. These blinds always giving out, or they need adjusting. When I picked the van up, it was advised. So we actually travel with these blinds like that.
So that
and that
no
way, there's
no
no push and pull on them. And they didn't fault any, they didn't break. They're all still in great working order. And that's all around the van. The Siroccos didn't fall off. All the cupboard doors are still on. The aircon didn't fall out. What else do you get, people? That thing must be screwed on bloody well, the old fire extinguisher, because that didn't go anyway. Nothing around the bed. Everything's fine. Drawers, TV, obviously we take off when we travel. It doesn't matter if we're traveling on the bitchy. That comes off, that lies on the bed. But
what happened?
Righto.
Let me show you what happened.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yep.
Alright, go on.
This happened.
So, the fridge stopped working.
Yeah. In short, we got all the way up past Bamaga.
We got to Munty Head.
To Munty Head. And the fridge just didn't seem to be holding the chill.
Yeah, it just started dropping out. Like I opened it up to get something out, and I saw a little bit of like defrosted water, and I was like, oh, that's a bit strange.
And I actually thought it was because it needed a defrost, because there was a lot of ice in it. I thought, oh, it just needs a good defrost to start working, because it still had full power. Cut a long story short, we didn't have a fridge while we were up the Cape. But that said, I'll hand over to Derek to tell you what was wrong with the fridge. At the end of the day, we were lucky we had the small fridge and freezer and the canopy. We were traveling with some great people, so I had my food dotted all around the campsite. And I'll hand over to Derek to talk you through the technicalities of what went wrong.
Hang on, Sue's got the camera there. So yeah, so the fridge stopped working like Sue said. Fortunately we got the fridge and freezer in the car. It happened up there, there's nothing we could do about it. It's not Vacationer's fault, by the way. It's like anything you buy. You build a house, it does fall back onto the manufacturer of the fridge, but through Vacationer, obviously they put it in the caravan, got onto them, they got onto the supplier. Supplier contacted me in Bamiga and said to me, mate, where are you? You know, obviously we're in Loyalty Beach, which is the tip of Australia. If you don't know, there's not much around there, in all fairness. They were like, we can ship you one, you can put it in and you can take it. I said, look mate, I'm fine the way I am. We stayed another extra week up in Loyalty Beach. We plugged into mains anyway. We just bought food every 2-3 days. It might have cost us a little bit extra, I don't know. They rang me up and they said, mate, your caravan's booked in at Cairns on I think it was the Tuesday or Wednesday when we returned from the tip of Australia. I went down into Cairns, took it in, they took the fridge out. I could get my caravan back, which is great because obviously this is our home. They didn't keep the caravan for days on end and we had to booking it in. He rang me up and said, look, they've run a test on the fridge and they're going to just replace the fridge. They booked it in. That was the Wednesday. I found out that on the Friday. They booked it in for the Tuesday. I dropped the van back off for half a day. They rang me up and said, mate, you got a brand new fridge installed in your caravan. When I picked up the caravan, I asked the bloke, I said, mate, what was the problem with the fridge? He goes, he ran a test on it, so they pressure tested it to see if the pipe had cracked from the corrugations or something had come loose or wire. Everything was 100% on that side. It was just a faulty fridge. Now, I don't know, I've bought fridges in my past where you go to Harvey Norman, you buy a fridge, you get home and for some reason it doesn't work and you've got to take it back. It's a bit of a pain, it's a luck of a draw. So this is a brand new fridge. He put it in. I didn't think I signed any paperwork.
No.
And we rolled out and we, it's working like a charm again. So,
thank the Lord.
Yeah, the way that was handled, Vacationer and the supplier, yeah, couldn't fault it. So when we got back from the tip, it was booked in, new fridge, and we were on the road within a few days. So that was alright. That got fixed in the bathroom. It's a bit messy. Shower door never fell out. Washing machine still on the wall. Vacation did a great job. Everything about the van held up perfectly. Guys, yeah, we're very happy with it. Like, would I do? Let's answer some questions. Would we do it again?
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. Would we take the van up to the tip? Yes.
Yes, we would.
Would I want to do a trip on the OTT with a swag?
Yes.
Yes. Because there's some really great camping spots on the old Telegraph track. Great trip. We don't want to keep you long. It's Sunday. We hope you enjoyed this Cape York series. If you want to go back and check it out, hop back over to some of the old videos of ours of the trip. Would appreciate the support. Also, if you're wanting to watch some more of our episodes coming up, hit the subscribe button here below and hit the little notification bell. But also, guys, that does help us just by subscribing to our channel and liking it. If you do like the stuff, I'm not asking you to, I'm not trying to force you to do something if you don't want to do it, but it actually helps the algorithm for YouTube to grow and promote our channel to other viewers. So we, that is how it's like a business, and unfortunately that's how the YouTube works, is by people subscribing, watching our video without pausing it and fast forwarding, etc. Like, I'm not going to get into it, but
and we don't even charge.
Yeah, it's free. It's YouTube
free.
is free. You're watching it for free. The only thing that is most probably charging you is your internet connection at home, which you would have anyway. It's free, but it does take a lot of time to make these videos. So a little bit of appreciation by subscribing, please, does go a long way, and it does help myself and Sue and Bob. So, guys, yeah, that's it. If there's any more questions you want to ask us on this, drop the comments in below, and also let us know how we're doing. We love the feedback, positive or negative, and we love going through the comments as well, and we'll try and get back to every single one of you. But yeah, that's it. Cape York done. We got an exciting year next. See ya.